Chapter 8. Homecoming. He was an assassin, a true shinobi. He felt vindicated. With the death of Danzo, the Uchiha Council cancelled their planned uprising. They knew there was no way to win without the support of Root. Now that the curse seal on their tongues had disappeared, the Umbu were able to locate many of the former members. Ibiki was leading a unit whose sole function was to deprogram them. The Hokage vowed to bring about better relations with the Uchiha. Kakashi had his doubts, but Itachi was closely monitoring his clan. Sarutobi felt confident now that he had more time to work with. Kakashi began taking more missions here and there. 6 months later, he found himself in Suna finishing his escort mission when he passed through their market. A toy stand caught his eye. Thinking of his little chibi at home, he wandered over to it. He bought a little ninja doll, grinning as he imagined Naruto's face. That boy and his friends loved these silly little things. When he saw the Kazekage approaching, he hastily stuffed it into his weapons pouch. He definitely did not want to be caught buying such a thing. The 3-day journey back home seemed to take forever. He had never been gone longer than a week before. Naruto would get nightmares. As he approached the tall gates of Konoha, he summoned his pack of Ninken. He missed his boy and did not want to waste any time searching for him. I have to report my mission completion to the Hokage. I want you all to spread out and find the puppy for me. Do not let him see you so I can surprise him. Then report to the tower once you discover his whereabouts. Dismissed. The pack separated quickly while Kakashi continued towards the Hokage's office. Pakken found him first and let him know where to find the chibi. "Daddy," yelled Naruto when he spotted Kakashi across the park. The past 6 months had changed him a lot. No longer frail and sick, his chubby body bloomed with health. His thick blonde hair stuck up in spikes. He jumped up and down excitedly and hollered, "Daddy, I missed you. Did ya have a good mission? Did ya kick any evil ninja butts for me? Did ya miss me, Daddy? Did ya bring me something? Did ya?" He stopped with a sudden high-pitched scream when Kakashi pulled a new ninja action figure from his weapons pouch. "Chuji, come see, come see. My daddy just got back from Sugasuna Sinaga." "Sunagakure, son." "Yeah, he just got back from air. Look, Chuji, he got me the Kazekage." The two boys inspected the figure in awe, until Kakashi cleared his throat and gave him a pointed look. He jumped up and latched onto the nin, hugging him, then yelling, "Ichiraku daddy. You said you'd take me to Ichiraku when you were gone more in 4 days. You said." Kakashi laughed at the hyperactive boy. Always thinking with his stomach, he thought. He looked at the chibi and said sternly, "Where is your babysitter pup? You better not have played too many pranks on poor Irika again. That poor kid is going to go crazy if you do not leave him alone. You and Kiba better not have turned his hair blue again, did you?" "No, Daddy, I swear I was good. And anyways, Ruka's not here. I got that guy." He pointed up at the tree behind him, where a young masked Umbu sat. "He's no fun, Daddy. He wouldna give me a piggyback ride." He whispered into Kakashi's ear, "He wouldna help me at night with the scary dream, Daddy." The copy nin hugged his son then looked up at the tree in surprise. He had not felt the chakra signature at all. He noted the mask and smiled. "So my pup treat a weasel, huh? You must have scared him good. Excellent work, son. Now could someone please explain to me why I have the Umbu Uchiha prodigy doing the job of a genin?" He set Naruto on the ground and folded his arms across his chest in unease. He wanted answers now from Itachi. The masked nin jumped down lightly from the tree and said, "Good to see you again, Kakashi. I need to speak with you urgently, but this is not the place to discuss it. There was an incident the day after you left on your mission." "What?" Feeling his ire rise, he said, "My place now." At Itachi's nod, he looked down at Naruto. "Say goodbye to Chuji, son. We need to leave." Naruto was about to complain about leaving so soon, but one look at the nin's face and he complied. He had that scary "this is serious" look. He only made that face when he talked to the men in the masks and the Hokage. Quietly, he picked up his things, said goodbye to Chuji and his mom, and then followed the two shinobi. Kakashi glanced back at his son, and saw the kicked puppy look and huffed in annoyance. That look always worked on him. He turned around, picked up the boy, and set him on his shoulders. Looking over at the Umbu, he said, "Well, come on. We are in a hurry, aren't we?" He shunshined away, leaving the Uchiha staring at a pile of swirling leaves. Back at his apartment, he could instantly tell that something had happened. Naruto jumped down and before he could ask any questions, spoke, "Oh yeah, guess what, Daddy? I forgot to tell ya. Somebody came in and they started wrestling in a house with Ruka. I told them that they not supposed to cause someone could get hurt like you said, but they didna listen. And then Ruka got hurt like you said would happen. He was in the hospital, but he says he's all right. Are you mad at him, Daddy? That mean old lady next door was. She called the policeman and said I was being bad, but I wasna, Daddy. I swear. That man that was wrestlin' with Ruka wanted me to play with him, but I told him no cause I'm not supposed to. Then guess what happened, Daddy? Ruka punched him in a head and made him fall asleep. He tried to make me go back to bed, but then he falled over and wouldna get up. I was tryin' to make him get up, but then the police came. The KMP are really cool, Daddy. Will you get me one of those figures next? Well then guess what happened? The police took Ruka's friend away, and then the men in a mask came and took care of Ruka. Then they made me sleep in their house. I tried to tell them that you would be mad that I wasna at home, but they didna listen to me, Daddy. I don't wanna go back there, Daddy. It was dark and scary, and they didna let me bring my teddy bear. Kakashi crouched down and hugged the trembling boy. Controlling his anger, he gently said, "Okay, son. Thanks for telling me everything. You did a fine job. Why don't you go to your room for now while I talk to Uchiha here, okay?" Naruto nodded, then went to the room. As soon as the bedroom door clicked shut, Kakashi's expression changed. It became deadly serious. Report. Itachi stood at attention. Sir, it happened just as Naruto said. After midnight, an intoxicated assailant broke into your apartment. The genin on duty, Irika Yumino, successfully defended both the boy and himself. He was able to subdue the assailant, sustaining minor injuries. He broke an arm and suffered a concussion, I believe. The woman next door notified the police of a noise complaint. They called Umbu. When they arrived, they arrested the man and took the genin to the hospital. We took Naruto into custody for his safety. We interrogated the villager. He was told by an unknown person where you lived and that you were gone. Apparently, it looked like just a drunken whim. Sir, there were not enough wards and traps around your residence to ensure proper safety. I understand there is not much you can do with an apartment, but considering the nature of the boy. Kakashi interrupted, why was he at the park and not within the protection of the Umbu headquarters? That was definitely not Black Ops protocol. Itachi vacillated, the threat had passed. Try again, Uchiha, he said, knowing there was more. Umbu would not have taken him out in public until Kakashi had returned. Well. Tiredly he asked, what did he do? Are the headquarters still intact? Well, the kitchen needs to be remodeled now. The boy slipped his protector and found the explosives room, he said with a wince. He set off enough tags to blow the roof off. He escaped the Umbu? Are you telling me that a 3-year-old got away from a highly trained Umbu black operative and got a hold of explosives? There is more, isn't there? Tell me. Well, he is almost 4 now. He tried to defend the Umbu's reputation, then sighed. He painted some anatomically correct drawings on all the masks he could find. Kakashi was really getting angry now. This still did not explain why they took his boy out of the safety of the headquarters. That still does not justify anything. Sir, we are not entirely sure what he did to Bear, but his left eye was twitching madly. We felt it would be prudent to remove the child from the premises for a while until he calmed down, he said, finally stating the truth. Kakashi began to laugh. He couldn't stop. His son had single-handedly decimated the Umbu Black Ops headquarters and had its members running for cover. Wheezing from laughter, he said, "Wow, I must say, I am impressed that he could do that to Bear. Ibiki Marino is calmness itself. His self-control is legendary. That's my boy," he said, puffing out his chest with pride. "You are dismissed, Itachi." Itachi saluted, then shined away, leaving the still chuckling Kakashi standing there alone. He walked into the bedroom where his son sat on his bed playing with his ninja toys. He silently watched him for several minutes, glad to be home. Looking at the small space, he sighed, knowing what must be done. It was time to move. This place just did not have adequate space for the two of them, and he could not make it safe enough. The renter in his house had recently died, and the house was still vacant. Sum was right, he needed to make new memories. He remembered the conversation they had recently. Flashback. When are you going to move out of that tiny apartment and into your family home? It has vacant for a long time. It would be good for you two to get a bigger place. The yard is huge, and as a bonus, it borders my clan compound and the Umbu training grounds. Plus the brats would love to be closer. Kakashi was quiet for a moment and then said, "I'm not sure if I am ready for that yet. It has so many memories in it." She rolled her eyes and said dryly, "You have a son now, Hitaki. Make new memories." He could tell she was itching to slap him upside the head, so he took a step back. "I'll think on it." "So has the brat been sleeping in his own bed yet?" He sighed, "Only at nap times. Every night I put him in his own bed, but he always ends up in mine. He still gets scared at night and has nightmares, but they are slowly starting to decrease." Sum patted Kakashi on the shoulders. "Don't worry, you're doing a good job, Kashi. What about going outside? Is it easier to get him out yet?" "Ma, he still bites me at times. Only Irika can get him out without too big of a fuss. He claims it is only because Naruto does not want to be separated from me." He watched his little boy play for a moment, feeling so content to be home. It scared him to think that some civilian managed to break in. Thankfully, he was not hurt, but what about next time? He could set up very powerful traps around a house, but not an apartment like this. He had to protect his most precious possession. Naruto looked up and smiled at him. "Guess what, Daddy? Tenzo thought I was crying, so he made me a new ninja. See, look, it looks exactly like you, Daddy. It even has your red eye when you take off the headband." "But I wasn't crying, Daddy, I just got something in my eyes." "You're a tough little man. You ready to eat now, pup? Ichiraku, Daddy? You said, 'member?" His face lit up as he ran to Kakashi. "I really missed you, Daddy." It was funny how he was not scared to leave the house if ramen was on the line. "Yeah, I remember my promise, and I missed you too." The next morning dawned clear and bright, but not Kakashi. With a heavy heart and forced cheerfulness, he and Naruto walked across town towards the Inuzuka clan grounds where his house stood. He found himself explaining death to the boy when he asked what happened to the old woman that used to live there. "Sometimes people get sick or hurt, and sometimes old people just die." "Are you gonna die, Daddy?" he asked worriedly. "Yes, son, someday I will. We all do, but that is not something you should worry about right now. As a shinobi, we put our lives on the line all the time. Remember this, I am highly trained and will fight hard to stay alive. That is all anyone can do. We are here." He pointed to the large house. Although Kakashi had not been back to his home in 10 years, it looked the same. The renter had taken good care of the grounds, he noted, and the newly refurbished deck was gleaming. He slowly climbed the stairs while Naruto tugged on his hand in impatience. He unlocked the door, opened it, and stepped into the past. He barely even heard the boy whoop as he ran off to explore the space. With a rapidly beating heart, Kakashi stumbled through each room. Every corner seemed to expose a new ghost of a memory. He blinked his eyes hard and clenched his fists to stay in the future. It worked until he came upon the study, where he had witnessed his father's suicide. The sensations became too much as he was forcibly thrown into the past. He was a young boy again, all alone in the world. He slid to the floor and held his head in his hands. Naruto found his daddy's old room. It looked out onto the Umbu training grounds. He jumped up and down in excitement to think of all the awesome jutsu and fighting techniques he would get to witness. No wonder why his daddy was the greatest ninja ever, he thought. He ran off to find him so he could tell him about the room. He wanted it to be all his. He called and called, but did not get an answer from the Nin. Finally, he found him in a room with a bunch of books and a desk. His daddy would not look or talk to him. He touched his chest, which was rising and falling fast. "Daddy, are you getting scary pictures in your head?" he asked. He was not scared because he had been through this a lot in the last 6 months, and his daddy always helped him. "Don't worry, Daddy. I'll help you this time. Breathe, Daddy. Take a deep breath and let it out slow. Don't think about the bad pictures. They happened long ago. Look at me, Daddy, and wake up." He climbed into Kakashi's lap and put his hands on the Nin's face. "Feel my hands, Daddy. Wake up. You are home with me." The small familiar voice invaded his subconscious. That voice did not belong in his father's home, not back then. He opened his eye to find 2 blue orbs inches from his. "Did you see scary pictures, Daddy?" he asked knowingly. "They not real, 'member, Daddy?" He hugged the Nin, pulled down his mask, and gave him a wet kiss on the cheek. "Love you, Daddy. Love you too, pup. I am sorry if I scared you." He hugged the boy back, set him down, and stood up. "It was just bad memories from when I was a little boy. Let's go look around some more, okay?" He was mad at himself for falling apart around the boy. "No, Daddy. I wasn't scared. I don't wanna look round yet. You forgot something, Daddy. You got to meditate now, 'member? That's what you always make me do." "Can I help you, Daddy?" he earnestly asked. He smiled at the boy. "I think I would love that, son." He had done that countless times for the boy since he had adopted him. He no longer had to though, as the flashbacks had finally stopped. He rarely even had nightmares anymore. It seemed that his mind was finally healing, Kakashi's too. This was the first bad moment he had had in months. "Sit with me here on the floor, Daddy. Put you legs in lotus and hands in mudra. Now close you eye. 'Member, back straight and breathe deep." Kakashi did as instructed. The last thing he heard as he went deep into a meditative state was, "Good boy, Daddy. Now go somewheres nice." Later that afternoon, after they had cleaned the house up, the Hokage came by to see them. He had known that they were in the process of moving, and was happy to hear of it. He brought a gift for the Hitaki family. Sarutobi brought with him an Umbu escort. Naruto answered the door and shyly stared at them for a minute, before remembering who the Hokage was. "Hi. Daddy, the old man in a Umbu is here as see ya," he shouted very loudly. Sarutobi just chuckled at the impudent chibi. "You wanna come in?" he asked and opened the door wider. He studied the Hokage for a minute and remembering the recent conversation with his father compelled him to warn, "Hey, guess what, did ya know that old people die, and you don't look so good?" Kakashi had just walked in the room when Naruto let out that little gem of wisdom. The boy was about to open his mouth again, but Kakashi covered the boy's mouth in embarrassment, then greeted the Hokage. "And to what do I owe the pleasure of your visit, sir?" "Oh, I thought I would see how everything is going for you too. I brought you a small tree for a housewarming gift." He handed the plant to Kakashi. Naruto was gazing at it curiously. He tugged on Kakashi's clothes until the Nin looked at him. "You put a tree in the house?" he asked with a confused expression. "Why, Daddy? Trees are supposed to be outside." He was at a loss to explain. You know I really don't know why. Everybody does it. I guess because it looks pretty and makes a house feel welcoming. Oh, he said thoughtfully. What about your pack, Daddy? They pee on trees. You not supposed to pee in a house. You said so when I peed on the floor. You 'member? Kakashi snorted back his laughter at the chibi. Don't worry pup, my nin can know better. The Hokage did not hold it in, he burst out laughing at the boy's hilarious statement. He thanked Sarutobi then asked Naruto if he had anything to say to him too. His little face scrunched up for a moment in deep thought before he answered, I just have a kid-sized penis, because I'm a kid. Not Daddy though. He's a grown-up, so he has a big penis. Daddy, your penis is this big, said while holding his hands quite a wide distance apart. Kakashi instantly went red as the Hokage, and the Umbu started choking on their laughter. I meant, thank you, but I guess you can repeat anywhere and everywhere you want, he deadpanned. Why don't you go play before you say something else that you shouldn't? To the Hokage, he said, I would ask you to stay longer, however. I still have a lot to do, and who knows what the kid will say next. The Hokage and Umbu moved to leave. As they opened the door, several jonin were walking up the stoop. Looks like your moving helpers are here, said Sarutobi. Hayate, Genma, Kurenai, Anko, and Guy all nodded to the Hokage. They were all carrying boxes from Kakashi's apartment. Guy looked like a packhorse as he had claimed that through the power of youth he would be able to carry everything from Kakashi's living room. The others just rolled their eyes and let him. A few trips later, the apartment was empty and the house filled with boxes. Anko, who had been babysitting Naruto while they moved everything, came down the stairs to join the men who were finally relaxing. She tried to sit in Kakashi's lap, but he hurriedly stood up and had to remind her again that she was too young for him. She grabbed onto his arm and was trying to pull his mask off when Naruto hollered from upstairs, Daddy, I pooped in the toilet, come wipe my butt. Everyone looked at each other for a moment before busting out with laughter. Genma said in a soda voice, come wipe my butt next, Kashi. Ah shut it, he said pulling up his headband and exposing his Sharingan eye. He made a Chidori in his hand and said, you can wipe with this. He turned and walked up the stairs while his friends continued to snigger at him below. A few minutes later, Naruto raced down the stairs and leaped in Genma's lap. His face was lit up in excitement. Guess what, Uncle Gen? Daddy told me that you don't got no penis, he giggled then pointed at Anko, but he say you do. He looked at Genma with a slightly put out look. I thought you was a boy, Uncle Gen. The Sinbon that had been balanced precariously in Genma's mouth fell out as he gaped at the chibi. Kakashi smirked as he walked down the stairs as everyone laughed at the two red shinobi. Kakashi saw Anko get a predatory look in her eyes and head towards him again. He moved to Genma and plucked Naruto out of his lap then sat down with the boy in his arms. He ruffled his hair and said, that's my pup. He then whispered in the boy's ear, code purple snake. Naruto nodded solemnly and threw his arms around Kakashi's neck. Anko sat down next to them and put her hand on the Koppinin's leg. Naruto kicked her hand, swatted at her face, and yelled, no, my daddy. Kakashi gave her a nice smile and said, sorry Anko, he doesn't mean it. He just does not like to share me. You know, he's just a little guy. Come on Naruto, we are friends right, she wheedled, you were nice to me when I watched you today. I just want to be nice to your daddy too. No, my daddy. He pushed her away again then buried his head in Kakashi's shoulder. In a muffled voice he said, be nice to Uncle Hayate, not my daddy. Kakashi smiled at his boy. He is so smart, he thought. Anko was such a pain, but she babysat free for him, so he tolerated her. He had to teach Naruto to be his shield when she was on the prowl. Just then, he heard the chibi's belly rumble. Perfect timing little man, he thought. Well, thanks everyone for helping me. My little guy here is hungry so we are going to Ichiraku get something to eat before I unpack. Anyone want to join us? He put Naruto down so he could get his sandals. Naruto walked over to Anko, held up his arms, and demanded, "Up, Anko." "Hey," she said, "I thought you didn't like me anymore." She could not resist his cute little face, so she picked him up. The chibi pushed her trench coat aside and buried himself in her chest. Kakashi saw what he was doing and mouthed, "Traitor," when she was not looking. Naruto just giggled and closed his eyes in contentment. Several days later, on one warm summer morning, Kakashi woke Naruto to tell him their plans for the day. "Wake up, little man. We are going to meet Irika and some of my friends for training today. You want to watch us, right, pup?" Naruto was instantly awake. He threw the covers off and ran to the bathroom to get ready, singing excitedly and very loudly the whole time. Kakashi was rubbing his ears while fixing breakfast and packing lunches for them. The Nin did not have to convince Naruto to leave the house, for which he was thankful for. When they arrived, they were of course late as usual. Irika, Tenzo, and Guy were waiting for them. Kakashi did not want Naruto to wander the training grounds, so he had Tenzo create a playpen for him. He put the boy in it and noticed his pout. "Now you stay here where it is safe and watch daddy, okay?" The chibi was still mad, but he said, "'Kay, daddy." "Beat 'em up." "Sure, pup," he laughed. They warmed up, then started with taijutsu with Guy, who was a master. After a while, Kakashi used shuriken and kunai, which Guy easily dodged, but Irika had more problems with. He knocked the genin down and heard Naruto yelling, "1,000 years of pain, daddy." He laughed and called for a break after 2 hours to feed the boy. As he walked to the pen, he saw that his pup was still pouting. He glowered at Kakashi, "You didn't beat him up, daddy." "Well, they are my friends and we aren't fighting for real, son. It is just practice. You want daddy to show you something really cool after we eat?" His face lit up, "Yeah, daddy." When Kakashi handed him a sandwich, he shoved nearly the whole thing into his mouth, looking like a hamster storing its food. He began to chew furiously with his mouth open. "That is so disgusting," thought the Nin as he turned his head to avoid watching it. "Slow down, pup, daddy has to eat too, so no sense inhaling your food." Guy, Tenzo, and Irika wandered over to eat as well. Guy boomed out, "How is the youthful ball of energy doing this fine morning?" Naruto jumped up and down in the pen. He knew how to work the green man. "Unka Guy, pick me up, pick me up." He held up his arms and gave him his best wide-eyed look. "Please, Unka Guy." Guy could not resist the little chibi, so he snatched him out of his tiny prison and threw him high up into the air to his delight. Kakashi freaked out. He leapt to his feet and seized the boy from Guy's arms. "Are you crazy?" he screamed. "What the hell, Guy, you could hurt him." His heart was pounding in fright, while Naruto just laughed. Again, Unka Guy," he said while reaching for the shinobi. "Ah, come on, my eternal rival. Let the boy experience the full passion of youth in all its glory." Guy gave him his thumbs up and good guy pose. "Get your own kid to torture," snapped Kakashi after being nearly blinded by his smile. An instant later, he felt guilty as Guy's face fell. Realizing he was being foolish, he handed the boy to his friend. He said in a fussy sort of way before he could catch himself, just don't break him or anything." He coughed, embarrassed, then said, "Well, he just ate, so don't make him puke or anything." Abashed, Guy nodded and set the boy down. "Do you want me to show you how to punch with youthful power, young Naruto?" Naruto jumped up and down clapping his hands, "Yeah, Unka Guy, show me." They went through the paces while the rest of the men ate their food. As soon as Kakashi finished, he stood up and had Tenzo make him several wood pillars. He then called Guy to bring Naruto over. He had Irika hold him while he demonstrated the Chidori and several other impressive jutsu. Naruto was delighted. He seemed to love anything that was loud, fast, and/or destructive. "Again, daddy, do the birdie again." "I'm almost out of chakra, so I can only do it one more time," he said, showing him the Chidori again. After that, they walked home. Naruto yelled out to everyone he saw, "My daddy's the best ninja ever, and I'm gonna be a ninja someday just like my daddy. He tugged on Kakashi's pants and said, "You teach me to be a ninja, daddy?" Remembering how quick he picked up on guys' punching lessons, he said, "Sure, pup, we will start later. You just better not forget that you are not allowed to touch daddy's shuriken and kunai unless I am there and tell you to." I really get to be a ninja like you? At Kakashi's nod, Naruto smiled happily. I'll be the best ninja ever, just like you, daddy.
Alright, guys, this is gonna be part 11 of what if. Or, oh my god. Never mind. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing again. This is going to be part. I'm sorry, I saw the chapter and I said the wrong thing. This is gonna be part 6 of what if Naruto was adopted by Kakashi. I'm not even gonna do like goals anymore. I'm gonna just post because I like to post, you know? And I enjoy the community. I enjoy getting to know you guys. I enjoy meeting you guys. It's just really cool to me. So, thank you guys for all the support on the last one. And, if you enjoyed, comment, like, subscribe if you feel like it. It's free. And I'll see you guys in the next part. Bye.